morning, and thank you for taking the time to be with me here today. My name is Rebecca Dalrymple, and I'm excited to be able to speak to you about the impact of physical activity on children and their learning environment. Most of us know that most children enjoy some form of physical activity. Whether it's running, skipping, wrestling, or climbing, almost every child chooses to engage in active play. What you may not realize, however, is the impact that coordinated and organized physical activity can have on children in your care. As educators, we can be overwhelmed by research on pedagogy, overworked by demanding children, and underappreciated by our busy parents. And while I present to you references to studies which explain the science behind my suggestions, I hope that you will truly take 3 things away from this presentation. First, physical activity helps development cognitive function, or simply put, children learn better when they're active. Second, active play encourages a healthier lifestyle. Children who experience structured physical activity more often choose to continue in active play. And lastly, physical activity improves the learning environment. And what educator doesn't want his or her classroom to be a fantastic place to learn? To get us started, let's take a look how physical activity can impact cognitive development. Both gross and fine motor control skills are essential for proper development of young children. Structured physical activity provides specific tasks and movement which can help to improve gross motor skills. Whether catching, tossing, running, jumping, when a child participates in an organized activity under the supervision of an educator, that child will benefit from improved gross motor skills. When physical activity is included in the learning activity, studies have shown that children buy into activity and will show increased understanding and learning. By incorporating a physical component into virtually any learning activity, an educator immediately increases the likelihood that children will arrive at the desired learning outcome. Finally, when exhaustive research has not yet undertaken the direct link between the two, some studies have shown a modest link between involvement in structured physical activity at school and the development of literacy skills. This by no means suggests that direct and indirect support for literacy can be removed. That is clearly essential. But through ensuring that our children are provided with a dedicated and organized physical activity each and every day, we may be helping to improve their literacy skills before we even sit down to read. Another important aspect of organized, focused, and regularly delivered physical activity is the lifestyle choices it encourages in young people. Studies have demonstrated that when young children are involved in active play, as organized by educators, they are more often to make choices to continue being active. This means that children who are active with you will choose to be more active at recess or at free time. They will participate in active play and will likely to continue further participation in physical activity as they age. This further activity has an additional impact on young boys. Mental health has become more concern for educators, and physical activity has proven to be one of the many tools in the toolbox of mental health. Regular physical activity has been shown to significantly reduce depression symptoms for young boys. Not only are we teaching our young ones how to be physically healthy, but we are helping them to maintain their mental health as well. And finally, in keeping with mental health, I'd like you to consider just how much prompting physical activity in your students can aid your own mental health. We've all had difficult classes, hyper students, and young ones who do their best to derail an entire lesson. Well, thankfully, physical activity has a strategy that can help to increase the learning outcomes and educator sanity all in one. In 2019, a study was found that when children participate in structured physical activity, educators observed that classroom behavior improved significantly. For those children, it was though making productive use of their physical energy allowed them to focus and follow instructions more readily. This physical release was also credited to another study with significant reduction in stress levels for young children, allowing them to improve their behavior in one classroom and likely reduce their teacher stress as well. As educators, we want to provide an optimal learning environment for our children and to help give them the best foundations with which to grow. Dedicating a portion of our daily schedule to structured physical activity program will help to improve the physical health of our students, promote lifelong healthy habits, and nurture cognitive development, and help to create a positive and productive classroom environment. We owe it to our students to provide them with the best possible experiences we can, and we owe it to ourselves to encourage a reduction in behavior issues through our positive impacts of physical activity. Take that step today. Make a plan. Get your students active and watch as their minds and their moods improve in your classroom and becomes a more productive learning space. Thank you for taking the time to learn with me about the positive impacts that physical activity can have on your students. And I wish you all the best in your new challenge. If you'd like to explore any research mentioned in my presentation, please see the attached PowerPoint. Thank you again and have a wonderful day.